welcome back. It's me, and it's time for a movie review. Okay, so hey YouTube. This is for True Grit. I went and saw it earlier this morning. This movie stars Jeff Bridges as Cogburn, or Rooster as they call him sometimes in the movie. He plays a U.S. Marshal that's hired by Maddie Ross, who is played by Haley Stanfield or something like that. I forget her name. I think it's Haley Stanfield. She plays Maddie Ross, which hires Cogburn, Jeff Bridges, to basically go out and find this guy who killed her father. And that's played by Josh Borland, or Borland. His name's Tom Clancy in the movie. And then along the journey, Matt Damon's character LaBeouf comes and joins them and plays a Texas Ranger, I think it was. But this movie is about Maddie looking for the guy who killed her father and trying to get revenge on him by getting him back or killing him, which is why she hires Cogburn and then also brings on LaBeouf. And this movie was actually directed by Ethan Cohen and Joel Cohen, if I'm saying their names right. I personally haven't seen any other movies by them. The movie itself was a good movie. It had a lot of comedic relief in it. Parts of it were just you just couldn't not laugh. It was kind of a choppy movie, actually. It seemed almost to, like, the scenes didn't flow very well with one another, which I think they could have done a little bit better job at getting those to kind of fit together better. It had a good story to it. It was a great storyline. It was actually, the movie is based off of a book. I forget what the book was called and who wrote it, but this movie was based off of a book written way back when. It's also a remake to the original True Grit. Man, I forget who was in John Wayne. John Wayne was in the original True Grit. So this is kind of just like almost like a remake of that movie. It's based off of a book. Jeff Bridges. It was definitely nice to see him in another movie. He was also in Tron Legacy, which, like I told you guys earlier, was one of the best movies, is still the best movie I've ever seen. But Jeff Bridges, the role that he plays of Cogburn in this movie, I seem to fit him very well. Cogburn is an old, drunk, fat, washed up marshal. And I don't know why, but Jeff Bridges definitely, he definitely pulled off that role perfectly. Matt Damon's role as LaBeouf, he didn't have too big of a role in the movie. He definitely showed up, but he didn't have a whole lot to say, and quite a few parts. It's Cogburn saving LaBeouf's butt until the very end. But I mean, Matt Damon, he's kind of been out of the movies for a little bit, so I guess it suited him. I'm not a big fan of Matt Damon, but it was a pretty good role for him. He's actually going to be in another movie coming out. I forget the name of it, but it's about like these guys and they supposedly control everything that's happening in the world. Something Bureau, something like that it's called. And then Haley Steinfeld, I really hope I'm saying her last name right, was the one who played Maddie Ross. She has been in, I think, one other movie, if I remember right. I think she's been in one other movie, but it was when she was much younger. This one, she plays like a 14-year-old girl who's looking for her father's killer. But she did pretty good in the role. It was definitely a gritty role. And it was a good movie. I'd say go see it, actually. it's great for a kind of funny little western sort of movie. I'd give it a 8 out of 10. It could. There's always ups and downs with movies. Doesn't matter what movie it is. I mean, there were downs to Tron also. Um, just not many. This one, the downs were the scenes could have been cut together a little bit better. Um, it would have been nice if they didn't try and use so many draws in the language so you can actually hear what they were saying. I mean, I know it was based out of Texas, but I mean, come on. It was to some of the characters were to the point where you couldn't understand a word that was coming out of their mouth. Um, but I give it an 8 out of 10. It was a good movie. Um, I guess that's it. Go see it.